Hello, I'm Jordan Burkholder. Today I am interviewing Miss Ellen M. Prescott, a published author who's going to be featured in the newest edition of The Glass Mountain, a nationally recognized literary magazine. It's nice to be here with you.
Nice to meet you too.
So, let's get right to it. How has digital distribution, the advent of ebooks, affected you personally?
Well, I would say personally, I've only dabbled in it, but what it has done is opened up a doorway of hope for a lot of especially young aspiring writers who have to be continuously cautious about the money we make right out of college. Digital distribution, while may not be the prize goal of the big publishing company taking on your work, it does offer us a way to make a living because you can set prices, and digital distribution allows you to take hold of your own funds without an agent. It also allows you to get your work out there without being stalled by a publishing company, and allows you to do self-publication and to bypass all the bureaucracy and sometimes the genre picking that is dealt with when you deal with a publisher.
Do you personally plan on implementing it yourself?
Yes, I have actually in the works a couple ideas for some self-contained stories that will be on a digital distribution media, mostly series, because those tend to bring audiences a lot better than, say, an individual work, because they like to continuously buy works that they know are good and ones that are in a series so they can get larger bulk for their money.
Why do you think it opens up so many doorways for authors such as yourself?
Well, like I said, you're able to bypass a lot of publishers and a lot of the bureaucracy. People tend to assume that being discovered by a publishing company is the ultimate goal for an author, where in reality you have to deal with a lot of the financial issues such as royalties, agents, and there's a lot of other lines of bureaucracy. And even if your work is good, it may not be picked up by a publication simply because it does not fit the genre standard that that publishing company adherns to, or it doesn't deal with this, maybe not genre, but your work doesn't quite fit into it. Its digital distribution is actually in some way very similar to selling your work to journals, only instead of selling the rights for a down payment, you get to keep the rights of your work and you're able to control all the financials.
Do you feel like it's closed any doorways in particular?
I would say that if anything, it gets a bad rep. The fact that it is open to everyone who, can publish on Amazon or really any digital distribution allows for people who probably shouldn't be publishing, or people clutter the products. So you can go looking in for a good piece of literature, but 90% of it may not be good. But that's still true if you go to a library or you go to a bookstore. Publishers like what sells, and what sells, things like, say, 50 Shades of Grey or Twilight, aren't necessarily good, but they fit a money-making formula. So I think it's digital distribution specifically gets a bad rep, and it may, to some publishers, somewhat tarnish your image, but I don't think that's so much of an issue nowadays.
Thank you. Are you personally more likely to buy an ebook or a printed copy of a book?
Probably an ebook, mostly though I'm biased because, one, I'm a college student, and it's easy to carry around all of the books that I have to read for my numerous literature classes in my iPad. Whereas if I had to get a bunch of books, I'd have to carry them around. Also, digital distribution is normally a lot less expensive, and you don't have to wait on shipments from Amazon, which if you're working on a schedule of books you have to read by a certain time, and you only got a day or two to read 2 books, you can't be sitting there waiting for a shipment to come in. So digital distribution is cheaper, it's more efficient, and it's a lot quicker.
Thank you. So, what do you think this all means for publishers?
I would have to say that publishers are going to have to start gambling more, which I think is a good thing for authors. They now are faced with the fact that a lot of authors who are confident in their craft can make money, their own money, that doesn't go to a publisher or agent, completely without the system of bureaucracy. It's difficult. It's the same thing as if, say, 90% of writers aren't going to get found by some major publishing company, but the really good ones are going to be able to scrape by, and they're going to be able to make a name for themselves on the internet. And publishing companies are going to have to broaden their horizons in order to pick up the best authors and the best works that they want to make money off of.
One last quick question before we run out of time. What do you think digital distribution means for the future of books?
I would actually have to say it has a lot of positive effects for the future of books. Now, a lot of people may argue that books are losing what makes them books. It's the paper, but if we were going to be completely honest, it's the words that matter. And because digital distribution is a format that is more readily available to people, it's cheaper, you can usually find books for free, and there's a lot of companies that send digital distributions to other countries that may not be able to pay for the printing of books. It allows for more readers to, read.
Thank you very much for your time. This has been
no
a
problem.
great interview. Thank you again.